agents who service home buyers throughout Boston, the South Shore, the South Coast, and Cape Cod. Our firm takes pride in assisting our clients in the next chapter of their lives by taking a holistic approach to their real estate endeavors. We believe that every move should be a moving experience. Every week, my co-host Melissa Wallace and I will provide you with my team's unique marketing approach to selling homes and share with you our expertise in navigating the home buying process. We value the experience of our agents at Boston Connect Real Estate so much that not only will you hear my perspective on real estate topics, occasionally you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of our experienced agents at Boston Connect Real Estate. Be a part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We'd love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you like to listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with me at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate.
And hello to all my South Shore neighbors. You are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. My name is Melissa Wallace, and I am joined live and in studio by two of my favorite people in this world. And
just in this world?
Just in this world. I mean, I could say universe. Oh, look, the microphone was right covering one of them. I have Sharon McNamara and Mary Horton.
Hello.
Hello.
It's been a really long time since Sharon and I were on a show together.
I can't remember the last time I was on a show.
I know, right?
Yeah. It's been a long time since the three of us has done a show together, so here we go. Mm-hmm. Here we are. It's like riding a bicycle.
I think we just thought there was too much personality in one room.
There was a lot of personality in this room. And it's a small room, too, so get ready, people. But yeah, we're doing a show. Well, I'm doing a show with the McNamara Horton group. That's how I'm going to think of it as, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I almost just said, please reintroduce yourselves to all of our listeners.
I think Sharon needs no introduction.
Sharon needs absolutely no introduction. But Mary, why don't you give a little sneak peek of who you are? And you used to do the show every single week with us. Mm-hmm. And then now you're just too busy for us, so it's fine. Never. But yeah,
all you had to do was look at me, and I said, I'll do the show with you tonight.
I was like, with my doe eyes, Mary, I have to tell Mommy that I don't have a co-host tonight.
Don't worry, big sis to the rescue.
But why don't you reintroduce yourselves to all of our listeners in case they haven't caught one of the many shows you were on before?
So I am the Horton of the McNamara Horton group. So Sharon and I have been a team for going on 13 years now, which is wild.
Don't mind Sharon's deep sigh.
It has been a very long time. I'm letting you know.
I have been a real estate agent for about 13 years, and I've been with Sharon on her team for 13 years. And recently, probably like 2-3 years ago, we became partners in our business. So hence the Horton and the McNamara Horton group name. But I have been a full-time agent that entire time, working primarily with buyers and doing a lot of new construction, but we really do it all. So there isn't, I mean, I think every show that I've been on this in 2024, we've been talking about new construction. So I think we're changing it up tonight.
It's funny because I was just going to say, if you hear Mary Horton's on the show, you know it's about new construction. Well, guess what, guys? It's not tonight.
Well, that's what you said to me today. You're like, oh, every time I have Mary on, all I do is talk about new construction.
Yeah.
Well, so it's funny because the other day I was thinking about it, and I'm like, we should probably have made a drinking game out of how many times we could say new construction on the radio show.
Yeah.
Just call it NC.
We will. Maybe that'll be a thing for next year. We'll do a drinking. We'll start new. We got to start in January. Dry January. We'll do that. So, but yeah, no, we are not talking about new construction tonight. We are, believe it or not, it's going to be fall soon. I know. Don't hurt
Fall's
me.
your jam.
Don't
Kill the messenger.
Don't
Fall's your
kill the
jam.
messenger. Fall is my jam. And actually, last year I looked it up. I went through talkrealestateroundtable.com. That's where we keep all of our podcasts. And if you listen to a podcast on your podcast app, you can find it there as well, on Spotify, Apple Music, all that fun stuff. But I was going back to see, okay, what do we usually talk about around this time? And I was like, oh my gosh, we talk about preparing to put your home on the market in the fall. And I'm like, it's August. Oh my gosh. And then I was thinking, yes, it is about to be fall. Fall market, at least. Although we got a little taste of fall weather today, too.
It's 2 official more weeks of summer. Is that what it is?
I don't know.
Two
It just
more
the whole
weekends?
thing just goes by too quickly. It just really
It
does.
Every season goes by too.
You know, and I never thought that there's a couple things that happened to me in my life this year. One, I never thought I would say, it is way too freaking hot here. I never thought that I would ever say those words. And two, I never thought I would say, boy, the summer's just flying by.
Yeah.
And now I'm old. I'm all had up. I'm all washed up.
Well, I'm not going to agree with the fact that you're old, so I think I'll agree with the fact that summer is pretty much over.
I think the summer season is extending starting earlier than we've ever seen it before.
You mean fall?
No, so I think
global warming. You're talking about global
I am
warming.
talking about global warming. Realistically, no, I think it's getting warmer in May and April than we had experienced previous. So I think seasonally it just has to change. Our mind shift has to change.
Yes, which is why we are doing this show. Our mind shift has to change from summer market to fall market, and you're laughing at me. We are live on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube, so be sure to follow us. Boston Connect Real Estate, McNamara Horton Group, Sharon Costa McNamara. You can find us all of those pages. You can call or text WATD. I believe we have Larry tonight. Is that true, Larry? Who knows?
Larry, is he
You
there?
can call or
I'm
text.
in and out of the building.
In and out of the building, but Larry is there.
Somebody's going to come in. We're in the middle of trying to do something that's not working.
Okay,
You guys are working fine.
We are working. That is for sure. You can call or text the studio 781-837-4900. Again, that number is 781-837-4900. And let's talk some real estate. So yes, Mary Horton is on the show tonight, and we are not talking new construction. We are talking about maintenance tips for selling your home in the fall. Because guess what? Fall's here.
Almost. Not yet.
I want to ask you both this question. Do you guys feel or see a seasonal shift in real estate?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Explain why you say yes. Yes. Please explain.
I needed a buzzer for that.
Yes. We're on Family Feud.
So we've notoriously, and we've experienced within our team, our greatest time frames for selling are really fall and summer. In prior years, I know heavily over the past couple of years we've talked about the spring market being incredibly heavy, and we definitely experienced that in 2024. I think spring market, because we had such a mild winter this year, started second week of January.
Yeah.
Like we just kind of after New Year's, it was buyers were out ready to go, and we had a pretty busy 2024 because of it. But notoriously, summers can be like the beginning of spring and summer is the most active, and then kind of this tail end of summer, which we're kind of in right now, July and August can be a little bit of a slower month, just with vacations, kids are out of school, people are trying to take advantage of their family time, but also the heat and humidity this year, I think, put quite a damper on Massachusetts, especially anybody who was thinking about selling and didn't have central AC probably reconsidered for a little bit, because it was uncomfortable in houses like mine that does not have central AC.
I when I stopped by, I was dropping something off to you, I don't know, in the beginning of summer at some point. I lose track of time. But I was like, why have you not brought up the portable AC that I had in here when I lived in this room?
Because I was probably in shorts and a sports bra walking around the house.
Yeah, I'm like, absolutely not. You need to get your husband downstairs, bring up that portable AC, and throw it in that window. right now. But yeah, it was warm. It was warm, but you just experienced very
I
very
experienced
warm
hot,
weather.
and then for all of our listeners who hear me on Saturdays, my daughter Mackenzie just moved to Dallas, and she took a job. I'm very proud of her, so I will announce she is the new director of health and wellness at University Texas Dallas. She sent us a screenshot of inside her car yesterday. She got into her car. The outside temperature was 117 degrees.
Yeah.
117 degrees. Are you kidding me? That's hot, hot, hot. And then I was in Belize for one of my niece's weddings, which was fabulous. And it was hot there. It was just hot, like uncomfortable hot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're very close to the equator there, so it makes sense. But, yeah, it was hot. I was thinking about when you were talking about the seasons, Mary, is it almost feels like we don't have a spring anymore.
Yeah.
Like we don't get to enjoy
They
those.
just flow into each other.
Yeah, and it isn't even like, and I feel like maybe even this year we'll probably see it. I feel like we're going to have Indian summer, like where it's like really, really hot, like for in the summertime. I mean, into the fall. I feel like maybe that will happen as well.
Yeah.
And we've been very lucky in the winters.
We have been very lucky in the winters, and it's funny that you say that, because I do feel, and I joke about losing track of time. It's true, because we sort of, this year in particular, and more so than I have felt this in the past few years, it's like it's just nonstop. It was we had such a busy summer, which sometimes it could be slower time, but that's why I say there's a bum for every seat. There's always going to be buyers, there's always going to be sellers, and for some reason this year it's just like continuous. But I was thinking,
I don't even know, Mary, how many houses have we sold this year? Do you know? I just don't look up.
29 as of today.
29. Okay.
29.
Yeah, so no wonder I'm exhausted.
I feel ya.
You feel me. I know you sure do.
yeah, but and I was also thinking, I don't even know if I thought about this yesterday before we came up with this topic, or before I came up with this topic, was, we always used to say the beginning of spring market was the Monday after Super Bowl. And I'm like, does fall start when football starts? Like, does the fall, now that it's about to be September and the first football game is going to happen, does it start now?
I don't know that
Labor Day.
Labor Day is definitely quintessential,
Yeah.
but then if we have warmer weather, there's always, in my opinion, this downtime at the very beginning of September. Like, it's maybe when people are readjusting to the summer ending, doing their final vacations, or kids are going back to school, people are kind of settling in, getting ready for fall, and then end of September, I feel, is really fall market, and we'll see like an influx of inventory kind of coming on. And that's going to kind of coincide with interest rates this year, right? So there's lots and lots of talks of interest rates coming down. They've already come down a little bit, and they're scheduled to continue coming down through September. So I think that will encourage a lot of sellers and buyers to probably make moves this fall.
And I do think, August 17th is now behind us, and we've been talking about the NAR changes and when that settlement, and Melissa and I did a show on that Saturday, and potentially there were clients or sellers that were thinking about, let me just see how this is all going to work out before I actually do put my house on the market. So I won't be surprised to see more inventory come on. And then one of the other things, we should do a show on this, is we talked about it a little bit in the office meeting today, is with the governor putting into effect the ADUs by right. So that will be a really good show and a conversation. Yeah, for us to have that conversation.
Yeah.
I'm going to give everybody the phone number, okay? I feel like I'm like interviewing the two of you. I sort of like this.
You feel so far away,
I do,
actually.
yeah. So you're listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. I am Sharon McNamara, the broker owner of Boston Connect Real Estate, and also one of the partners of the McNamara Horton Group. And we are in studio today, of course, with Melissa Wallace, who is the host of the show every Tuesday and every Saturday. And we are graced by the presence of Mary Horton tonight.
You guys make me feel so special right now.
Yeah.
Queen Bee is here.
And she has arrived. But if you have any questions for us, whether it's about this topic, we are going to be talking about how to prepare your home for the fall market. So as we are winding down the summer days, things that you can do to prepare your home and things you should be thinking about when you prepare your home for if you're putting your house on the fall market in the fall. So, but if you have questions for us, regardless of anything that has to do with real estate, feel free to give us a ring-a-ling. Larry is in studio at WATD 781-837-4900. 781-837-4900 is that number at our main studio, and he will connect you to our studio here in our home office at Boston Connect Real Estate.
Yeah. Okay, so kicking off our topic, I do want to discuss, after you hire a professional to list your home, I would say that one of your first things would be, before really fall, the leaves start falling, everything, to do professional photos. And I say that because, you could have a pool that is open and you want to highlight that and showcase that. You want to highlight, the great I almost said bushes. Your bushes outside.
The landscaping.
The landscaping
looks
looks so nice in the summertime. And taking those photos, even if you're not coming on for another month or coming on for a couple of weeks, you have those photos ready to go. You're ready to pull the trigger, and you're showcasing your home in the best light.
And I think too, Mel, not only for people who are thinking about doing it for the fall, people who are thinking about for the spring, because Mary and I come across this all the time. We're telling you, spring market starts the Monday after Super Bowl Sunday, which
There
is
could still be snow on the ground.
There could still be snow on the ground, and chances are your pool isn't opened.
Yeah.
And we hear that all the time. Well, I want to wait until the pool's open. I want to wait until my, hydrangeas
showing,
and all of it's all green, and it isn't, because honestly, it's dark and sort of dank, right? In the
winter.
in the winter.
Dark
so,
and dreary.
Dark and dreary. So, yeah, there's nothing green out there on your bushes.
I just feel like it adds that extra appeal that people are looking for, when they're looking at homes. Is you're able to, again, highlight and showcase the best parts of, outdoor living too.
And it's even not a bad practice too, even if you're not going to have professional photographies, if you're thinking about selling and it is summertime, take your own photos, because buyers are always going to ask, like, okay, when was the last time if the pool is closed, when was the last time it was opened? When was the last time it was used? What did the liner look like? So it just from a reference standpoint, it doesn't hurt for you to have those in your files. I mean, this happens to us pretty frequently where sellers will give us photos of their gardens, because those don't really come into bloom until June, July.
You know what? I'm thinking about my own house and everything that came up this year, and there was nothing in bloom when I bought my house. So nobody who put in an offer on my house saw how beautiful what the seller of my house planted and maintained and kept for years that I got to experience. And I'm like,
For the first time,
I was like, wow, every day I would come home and say, oh, what's new today? Right now I have something blooming just now. I'm like, what? I'm like, Ethan and I will look out the window and be like, oh, now there's 3 flowers on that bush. Like we're total losers, but it's interesting because I think that maybe it would have even gotten even more people if it looked the way that I got to see it all year. Something with the pool as well is, take a video of it before you close it for the winter, because you want to show that it is in working order. Again, with the liner, you want to show the liner, you want to show this, and give that sort of tour.
And what's so nice too is, we obviously always want to be doing professional photos, but when our sellers are giving us even these little videos, I love that everything is time-stamped, you know what I mean? So this is when, before I closed it, like for my house, I would put on the waterfall, I would put on the fire pit, I would show it in full functioning order.
Yeah.
I would go around to the edges of the liner to show that the liner hasn't fallen.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing is if you are thinking about putting your house on the market, whether it's this fall or next spring, when you close your house this year, I would take the added expense of calling a pool company to do that closing for you.
100%.
And that way there, you know what, sometimes people will forget to do this, that, or the other thing, but if you have a pool company that's doing it, and we have a pool company that opens and closes ours now, is Mark capable of doing it? Certainly is. Or maybe they just
He's
close
watching,
it.
by the way.
Oh, is he? Hello, Mark.
You're very capable, Mark McNamara.
Yes, you are very capable. But, you know, I think if you're thinking about that, just for us to be able to have the receipt, and Mary, you and I have that listing down in Plymouth on
I
Crabtree.
was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
I was going to say it after
Remember,
we
were
done
you
talking.
there when we left that day, right? So the day
Yeah.
we did the photos,
Yeah.
the pool company came and they were doing stuff, and he gave us his business
Yep.
card. One of the people who were putting in an offer said, you know, one of their hesitations is they're not familiar with pools. They're thinking about the cost, blah,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, well, here's the phone number to the company that has been maintaining that. So
Yeah.
you should give them a call. She's like, oh my God, that's great.
Well, what I was going to say about your listing in Plymouth is I think that house would show differently had the back. It's literally a backyard oasis back there. You know, it's if you enjoy pool life, the lifestyle that will bring you.
Yeah.
I think that house is the perfect one for it. And I think that it would show differently
Even
had
with the pool closed, yeah.
with the pool being closed. I think that maybe buyers would have a little different feel for it because they weren't fully like, you know, they don't hear the water running. And I know that sounds ridiculous, and we've done shows on like Five Senses before, but
I like
you know,
that
there's
one.
something different about, you know, being able to see and hear things that
lifestyle,
are
like
in the
you said
house. Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah, so that's that.
And too, though, when you were talking about like taking the pictures, I know that when we went over there, and when Mary and I went over there initially, and we were talking to the homeowner, and she was showing us around and doing all of that, she had told us what all those plants were, and I was taking a bunch of pictures, and out by the pool there were these, you know, there's beautiful plantings back there, and they were in bloom, and they were white little flowers. Well, when I did a couple open houses over
Yeah.
there, I
know
saw
exactly
people,
what you're gonna say,
yeah,
yeah.
so people were looking at them, and I was like, oh, if you want to see what they look like when they flowered, I said, I was here when they were blooming at the beginning of the year, just a few weeks ago, and I was able to show it to them.
Yeah.
So I think it makes sense to do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, just like any other, at any point in the year, all you want to do is highlight and showcase the best of the home, no matter what time it is. But today we're talking about fall. So, yeah. So next I have closing your pool. Obviously, we talked about that and just keeping records of that, Mary.
Well, so something that I would personally do if I were thinking, and this is just more fall maintenance things that I would do, whether I was selling or not, something that we have on our, Sam and I have on our list, is actually to have our chimneys looked at and inspected. Because, I mean, you're not using the chimney, especially if it's wood burning, you're not using the chimney during the summer. So, not that you necessarily have to have it done every year, but if you are thinking about selling, it is not, and you're actively using that fireplace, it's nice to have that looked at. So I literally called Steve Springhetti the other day, and he's going to be coming out to my house, I believe end of September, early October. He's coming out just to look at everything before we light our first fire for the fall season. That's something that's super important to me. I've always been worried about burning down my house, so that's something that we do pretty regularly anyway. But I would definitely do it if you were considering selling in the near future, in the fall.
Yeah. It's funny because did you read my text to Julia earlier? Because I was like, I'm going to ask Mary. This is before Sharon was joining. I said, I'm going to ask Mary what she would do if she was about to sell her house in the fall.
Oh, there's lots of things that I would do, but that's up there.
And Sharon, you've talked about, you know, having Steve come out to your house because of the crack that you found a couple years ago. And you just, and that was, you know, our suggestion for any time in the year is do a loop around your house. Go to places that you don't normally go to.
And that's just for regular maintenance. You know what I mean? You definitely want to be doing that. And we have been going back to that conversation several times about when I was on that side of my house and the painter was there, and I just went to say goodbye to Kevin Senna, awesome
I
painter.
ran into him at Stop and Shop
Oh, you
yesterday.
did? Yeah, he's wonderful. And if I hadn't gone over there, I would not have seen that crack, and I was more shocked than anybody, and that was there. But you certainly want to be taking care of those things beforehand, because I don't know when that crack happened. It could have just happened the week before, for all I know. But then before I get into the winter, you don't want water, ice, and snow to get into those types of cracks, because then you're going to have a disaster.
Yeah, it could be a disaster. And just like anything else, so I said, do a loop around your house, go into your attic, go into your basement. There could be not just critters living somewhere that you don't know, but potentially mold or just anything, but go to the places that you don't necessarily go to.
Yeah,
Frequent. I do need to go into my attic because I still have never been, but now the string is not. Like,
you've never been into your attic?
No.
So I say this right now.
But how many times have you gone into yours?
I've never. But
I have not gone into my attic, and now I can't get the door.
Right outside my bedroom door, so I know it exists.
I can't get the thing to come down. I think the wood had expanded from the heat.
We're gonna have to change that.
You want to come over and pull it down? Yeah. Anybody get in my attic?
Well, one of the things, Mel, that you were actually talking to Mark about today is, you noticed that something came loose on your dryer.
Yeah.
Right?
So I had to I had to start off the conversation with Mark McNamara by saying, "Now please remember, I am a first-time homeowner and I'm learning, and I can't learn unless I ask the question." So when he goes, "Okay, go ahead, ask your question," I said, "Do you think I have a gas dryer?" I said, there's a pipe going to the bottom of it. And, we went through the whole thing because I was doing laundry the other day and I noticed that there's a ton of lint like on the ground. So I got a broom and I was, sweeping it up, but I looked behind the dryer and that, I don't know, I told Mark it looked like an accordion. Like the accordion hose thing had come loose off the back. And I tried to put it back on, but I moved the dryer not knowing that there was a pipe connected to it. So once I realized, I was like, uh-oh. No, I didn't. I only moved it like an inch, but I was like, oh. And then I was like, oh, I must have a gas dryer. But I confirmed that with Mark today. But where were we going with that? Oh, yeah. There's so many things that you learn about your house, but you have to, explore those things. Like, would I have ever thought about my dryer unless something was, lint on the floor? No. But now I've fixed the problem.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you can't avoid the things that are glaring in your face. That's what home ownership is all about.
Yeah.
So one of the other things is one of our listings, there was a beeping noise that kept on going on with the water heater, and we couldn't figure it out. So we sent Mark McNamara from McNamara Plumbing.
Yeah.
And he went over there today for us. We're very lucky, Mary, to have him on our team.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
It's like I know a guy, but he's busy sometimes.
We got a guy. Yeah. Oh, we need to do that show again.
I know we're going to do that, but he went over there today and he was able to assess the situation, and it was a matter of batteries being changed. So just for that sensor. So you have to be looking into those things.
Faith Birmingham, who is a full-time realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate. She has joined me on the show before. We talked about septic systems and Title V. She is watching us and she says, "Hi ladies, just joining. Check your outside water shutoffs, gutters, tune-up, furnace, boiler." So those are some of her suggestions.
I love that.
When I bought my house, somebody came and cleaned out the gutters and made sure that was all ready for winter time.
It's so funny though, because
Joe's everything.
Joe is our everything.
Joe's everything to me.
But it was so interesting because I am not even kidding. This morning I was brushing my teeth. I don't know. I can't just sit there. It's a waste of time for me to just sit in the bathroom brushing my teeth. So I tend to walk around and I look out the windows. And I was looking out of my office window on my second floor, and that's sort of the overhang to where the half bath is on my first floor.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I better tell Mark that he has to clear out the pine needles in there because there's a lot of pine needles in there, and that's something that we definitely want. And in my head I said, no idea that we were doing this tonight, maybe. And I was like, we have to get rid of those because we don't want snow and ice to get in there and you get ice dams.
Yeah. Well, and there was an issue with my roof that I wouldn't have known unless I had somebody clean the gutters.
Yeah.
Because how often do you go on your roof?
Never.
I'm never going on it. I'm never going on it.
You should never.
I'm never going on it. So I had that issue cleared up when I had the gutters done. But so outside water shutoffs, gutters, tune-up, furnace, and boiler. Any comments on those?
Well, that's actually super important. That's something that we do cover. Outside water shutoffs, so your spigots. We cover that.
It's called the silcock.
Is that what
Mark McNamara helped me with mine. McNamara Plumbing.
He helped me with my silcock. So we covered that. We covered that today, and they make frost freeze, right?
Frost-proof
Frost-proof
silcock. He would be so proud of me right now.
Even though it's frost proof, it doesn't mean that it can't freeze
Yes.
over. So that's important. So you want to disconnect your hoses. You want to turn off the water to that spigot and do that. That's really winterizing the house. But probably a good idea when the temperature is going below whatever freezing is, Mark.
And the other thing too is with that whole frostproof silcock thing is you have to make sure, like if you have a hose attached, that you detach the hose, because if there's any water that's left in the hose, then that will push back up into the frostproof silcock.
I'm pretty sure. Say that 5 times fast.
I'm pretty sure Sam and I bought the house, and it might have been the first call that I ever made, like maintenance call that I made to Mark. Mark, we have a leak in the basement. Something's going on.
If it's water, we call Mark.
The first thing that he said, did Sam detach the hoses? I have no idea, Mark. I don't know, Mark. I just bought this house. It's March. Can you help me?
I had to call McNamara Plumbing a few months ago.
This has become a show.
My first time.
This has become a show about Mark.
This is all about, we are just trying, Mark, you are never going to stop. You're never going to retire because we're getting you so much business right now.
It's all about, it's actually like the Mary and Melissa show with Mark.
And it's like, this is how much we need, Mark.
Daddy, I need some help here.
I just want to remind you, I'm a first-time homeowner. Because, at this point, he's like, really? You don't know if you have a gas dryer? And I'm like, no, I don't. Please help me.
It's really pretty funny. Because he was over your house for something else recently, wasn't he? I don't remember. Oh, beehives. There was something that was going on.
No, I think when he was delivering again, he delivered a couch for me. I don't know what I could. We can't live without you, Mark. Please don't leave us. Oh God. Yeah. So, shout out to him.
I have 4 children, just so everybody is aware. Their names.
Mary's the oldest.
Mary and Melissa, Casey, and Mackenzie. All right.
Funny.
So you are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. My name is Sharon McNamara. I am the broker owner of Boston Connect Real Estate, and I am here tonight with my partner in crime. She started off as my assistant when she was 21. She is now 34, and
Crazy.
soon to be 35, and so she is now my partner. We are partners in the McNamara Horton group, so we're here graced by her tonight. And of course we have Melissa Wallace, who is our everything here at Boston Connect Real Estate. She's the director of operations and the agent liaison, basically, and agent relations. And if you have any questions for us, I'm having a hot flash, whether it's about this conversation or because this really has nothing to do with real estate.
Oh no. Mark said, God help me, with like 8 exclamation points.
If you want to actually talk about real estate and you have an actual question for us, 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. Larry is in studio at WATD. He'll get you to us. Or we're on social media just about everywhere, so feel free to send us a message that way.
Tracy Grady, who's a full-time realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate with her husband Jim, making the Grady team. She said, hi ladies, a hat trick, all 3 of you. Yeah, it is a treat for everybody, let me tell you that.
Yeah.
After you hear the McNamara Plumbing commercial that we just
I
had.
think Larry, we still have the Larry. We have the McNamara Plumbing commercial somewhere. That was a good one.
Play it. We'll play it soon. All right. I think that I want to say I want to preface. I think that a clean house is the best house. And I said this the other, I don't know, a couple of shows ago or something, or I don't even know, to Mary. And I said, I just want to let you know, like I did photos somewhere and I said, I just want to let you know, you should probably, suggest a cleaner to come through. And she's like, really? I didn't even notice. And I was like, well, when you're opening blinds for the photographer and, you're getting hit in the face with dust or something, like the house wasn't lived in, so there are some things that, need to be cleaned, and you might just not realize them, but it showcases the house in the best way. It doesn't mean that anything's wrong or that you guys are, something.
Well, cleanliness is next to godliness.
Amen.
Came from Sister Helen Cushion, I'm pretty sure.
So my suggestion would be to hire a professional cleaner.
Yeah. And I think for the most part, most of our clients do that. I mean, we always suggest, that once over just because, the way we clean, I always use the toilet bowl. When I'm scrubbing the toilet bowl, I'm a righty, I'm always swirling right. Maybe the cleaning lady swirls left, and that's what makes the difference.
Do you ask them? Which way? We could ask them because they come here.
Yeah, but they'll see things differently. You know what I mean? They're in there to give it a once over. And if it costs you $500, $400 in order to get a thorough clean of the house, I think it just does showcase the house that much better.
It does. First impressions matter, and I think that any little detail to benefit a buyer coming through, I think is important.
And it's a lot of pressure to do it yourself as well. So I think when you're a seller thinking about putting your house on the market, you're thinking about decluttering, you're thinking about staging, you have assistance from us from a standpoint of like, this is what you should do, this is how we should best stage. However, we're not the ones who are typically in there physically moving things all of the time. Sometimes we will go in and do that, but all of the time we're not. So to then think about cleaning the bathroom, cleaning the kitchen, cleaning the cabinets, cleaning the refrigerator,
Cleaning out the drawers.
cleaning the drawers, cleaning the floors. So it's just better. It'll take a lot more stress off of you to just have somebody professional come in.
And you don't have to worry about as much at the end as well. Sometimes we will have clients that will do it at the end as well. But I just think that, if you go into a house as a buyer's agent and you see a house that's, filthy, rotten, or just, you know what I mean? It's grimy or anything like that. If somebody can't take care of small things like cleaning
While they're there.
Yeah. So like my buyer agent head goes to, all right, well, if I can see that you have a layer of crud stuck to your granite
Is this
counter.
an as-is house?
Right. But everybody goes in. What do? They touch the counter. Ooh,
Yeah,
right?
the
So
five
if I'm
senses.
touching it, I'm like, oh, there's, toast crumbs and jelly and whatever. Are you taking care of the heating system? Are you taking care of the boiler?
Well, the other indicator is when there's those plug-in things in every single room and the windows are open.
Yeah.
What's that hiding?
That's definitely a don't do.
Don't do
Do not. And I know, especially fall, for some reason, seems to be a time of year where people want to do a lot of candles and potpourri, and they want to make it smell like cinnamon and Christmas trees and
When's the last time you heard anyone say potpourri?
potpourri.
She is
I had
potpourri.
potpourri, and Sam
cat used to
literally
play
just
with it.
threw it out. That's why. That's why.
Every once in a while, you
But
find a little nugget on the floor, and it's my cat.
I think my
that brought
mother
it
used
there.
to love potpourri.
Potpourri. Would you put it in a pan and boil it on the stove to make the house smell good?
I don't know. No,
she just put it in
like
a
put it in
bowl
the
for the
bowl.
cats
It's
to
like
eat.
decorative, but it smelt. But those overwhelming smells, and we find that more often than not. Just
turn off.
people are allergic. A lot of people have really, really severe allergies right now, and the intensity, I think, is just a little bit too much, and you kind of always wonder, like, what are you masking?
I wish people on the radio could see your face right now because you're like one
what
eye
are you
closed and you're like,
I'm like, are you masking?
Yeah, you're coughing up a
Maybe
storm.
your smoke, like a smoke, the smoker smell, and then you put Febreze over it, which can be very intense.
Wash the walls. That's what I'm
or
saying.
animals and things like
Animals,
that.
yeah.
Because now all I smell is cat pee with potpourri.
Well, it's funny because one of our agents had a listing. And she's like, "Oh, can you look at my pictures?" I was looking. I was going through it. I was like, "Do they have a cat?" Just looking at the pictures, and she's like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" And I was like, "I can tell by the sofa. The corner was all shut." She's like, "What?" I go, "A cat person would know that." But Karen Monroe is
hello.
watching us. She
Hello,
says
Karen.
tree issues from neighbors' yard is a good topic. This is our second home, and both have issues with neighbor not taking care of their trees.
All right. Well, tell that listener we'll table it.
Yeah, we're tabling that.
So I want everybody to understand that Karen is my best friend.
Thanks so much,
No,
Karen.
but that is really a good topic, and that is one that we have been meaning to do, not just on the topic of trees, but to have an insurance
Encroachments.
and talk about insurance. Somebody who comes in and talks about insurance with us and what happens with that tree. We did have a listing. We just sold that last week, Mary, in Quincy, and the people behind that house had a huge tree, and those branches were coming overhanging in this house too. So
She's laughing.
Yeah, it's a conversation. I love that I can get away with anything that I want.
She's laughing with a crying face.
Yeah.
I also want to. This is we'll table this too. But one day I would think it would be interesting to do a show on like surveying your land, and sort of seeing if somebody is encroaching on it. I think that'd be fun if you have a lot of land
There's certain
that you don't
encroachments
use.
that attorneys don't care about. I found this out recently. Not all encroachments are created equal. So
All right, let's do a show on encroachments. Can you write that down? Julia is listening to the show right now, so we'll have Julia remind us that we want to do a show with insurance, home policies, and with encroachments. We'll have an attorney on with us. So
Yes,
we'll
join
talk
us for
about
our
this.
next hat trick +1.
This is sort of fun. I think that we should do this every single Tuesday.
how the listeners feel.
I know the listeners are like,
Listen,
we
we're
are
getting
not
some great
listening
feedback on here.
anymore. Yeah.
Okay, we only have about 7 minutes left, ladies.
All right, go ahead.
What else do you want to talk about? We talked about the exterior. Anything about the exterior before we go back inside?
Yeah, I think it's really important as we're coming into, the fall months, and then soon thereafter it's going to be, the winter, right? And one of the things that bothers me the most is when people don't take the time to clean up the yard, and then it snows, and then all you have is like a bunch of frozen big wheels sitting in the yard, or leaves and everything else. Definitely take the time to do that, because if you have the time now, there's a couple of weeks before the kids go back to school, if you have kids, and you know what I mean, you'll just be raking and, get all that stuff up and get ready for the fall when you're not going to have time, because, there's a lot of events that happen in the fall that you probably won't have time to do it. So you should. And then before you know it, you're like, where did this first snow come from?
Well, it's a fall cleanup too, so that's super important. That was one thing that I hate. We have a wonderful landscaper now, so that takes care of our landscaping. But the leaves are a lot. The leaves are absolutely a lot to maintain and take care of. But it does. That first impression that we're talking about when you drive up to a well-landscaped house, whether it be in the fall, summer, spring, even the winter.
Yeah.
Like a nicely snow-plowed driveway so that people can physically get into the front door. The walkway is shoveled. That's also liability. But those things all matter and make that impression. So.
And I think that when you just said that about the liability and everything, I think that that's another good one too. And as we were talking about Steve Springhetti, who is our mason that we refer to all of our clients and use personally, having him come over and maybe giving a once over to the chimney, giving a once over to, if you have, I noticed when I came up the stairs the other day here at the office, we have a brick staircase. And I noticed a couple little cracks and maybe need some pointing done, repointing and things done. Do all those things before we get into the winter, because like I said, once we get rain and snow in there, it just, gets in there and then it expands. And
Yeah.
cracks.
Gets worse.
And it gets worse.
Well, I asked Mary, so I'm going to ask you, what is something at your house that you would take care of before your fall market?
If I put my house on the market in the fall.
What's something that you would do at your house?
I think for me, it would be a basic thing. I think with maintenance-wise, Mark and I actually do a really good job. You ladies know this, and I talk to you guys about your own homes. And, Melissa, especially with you last year and the struggles, I'm never going to get a house. And I always say, hey, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
To this day, Mark and I, every year, we budget money aside, to do something major on our house every single year. This year, it was a mudroom. Mary, you still need to pick out my tile. If you wouldn't mind, make a choice and let's get to it. I need somebody to tile my mudroom. But every year we do something. And I think for me, if I was to do anything right now, as you know, my dad is now, he's over in he's in a nursing home. I have all of his stuff. Mackenzie just moved from Newport to Dallas. I have a lot of her stuff. For me, it's just a matter of purging yet again. I can't believe it seems like that's all I do is clean my basement, clean my attic. And now for me, that would be we're doing it anyways, regardless if I sell my house or not. But if you'd like to buy my house, please give me a call, 781-294-4848.
You might be able to throw her an
If you get a
offer. Who knows?
dumpster, I'll throw some money for you.
Okay.
'Cause I need a dumpster too.
Okay.
Just saying. I can drop off my stuff. 4 minutes left, you guys.
Yeah.
Final thoughts for sort of fall maintenance tips?
I think Faith's point of cleaning up or having the HVAC system, so the boil,
ducts and stuff, yep.
And having your boiler, especially if you have an oil burner,
Yep.
making sure you're supposed to maintain that really once a year anyway, but having it done right before the winter season, making sure that number one, you're not going to lose heat during one of your showings, but also you can give it like a clean bill of health,
Yeah.
so to speak, to the next owner. I think that provides buyers a lot of security.
Yeah.
And that's an easy one.
Yeah, one of the listings we're going to have coming on, and I'm not sure if it will be this fall or if it will be into the spring, is they have they have well water. So my suggestion will be just to make sure to have that, system, have a once over and just, get the water tested and have a clean bill of health that way. So, but maybe have a pre-home inspection, and that's another whole story that, another whole show we can do. And maybe that would make sense just to find out the little things that are going to come up in a home inspection, and you can, start chipping away at them all winter long.
Well, you guys have 2 listings that are new, brand new on the market. Why don't you guys take a moment to talk about those 2 listings?
So I'll talk about the first one, which is 41 Liberty Drive in Pembroke, and that is a 55-plus development, condo development. I was actually the listing agent, pre-Mary, on that whole development. Jim Whaler was the builder-developer on that, and this is on Liberty. We actually have one that's under agreement on Patriot, but I'll be there Sunday doing an open house, I think 10 to 12 is when I'll be there. Yep. 10 to 12 on Sunday, and that's on the market for $625, and it's a wonderful 2-bedroom colonial.
Okay.
And then
Mary?
we have a 4-bedroom, 1.5 bath, 2-car garage colonial listed over at 445 Plymouth Street. It is full and loads of potential. It's got really spacious rooms, really good, large family room, and just waiting for somebody to kind of come in and give it a little bit of love, shine it up a bit. But it's got tons of potential, great location. You can be Melissa's neighbor.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me, you guys. We will be back. Sharon and I will be back live on Saturday at 8 a.m. talking about condos. So thinking about buying a condo or selling a condo, listen to that show.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye,
Hey, ladies,
everybody.
this was fun.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Larry. Ladies, that was fun.
Well, that's why I was like, the 3 of